If this is your first time here, welcome to the Weekly Juice. During our shows, we interview successful entrepreneurs and investors to spread knowledge, advice, and actionable tactics to help others in the pursuit of financial freedom. We discuss successes, failures, systems, motivation, experiences, and key lessons learned along the way in the hopes that these stories help you along your journey. Tune in every Wednesday to get your weekly juice. If you've been here before and you like what you've been hearing, please subscribe, share with friends, rate and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That goes an extremely long way for us. And the more ratings we get, the more eyes we'll get on our show. And in turn, we'll be able to provide you with high quality guests. You can also find us on Instagram at Weekly Juice Pod for daily content and personal finance tips to assist in your journey towards financial freedom. Welcome to the Weekly Juice Podcast. As always, Ryan and Corey here with another episode for you. Today is episode 35. We have on special guest Andrés Bustamante. Andrés is a real estate investor, a young entrepreneur, and a real estate agent in the Austin, Texas area.
Yep. Yeah, Andrés is crushing it. He's got into the leasing game when he was 19 years old and then became an agent, I think around 20 or 21. He's 24. He has multiple house hacks, which led into multiple properties for him. He's a huge mindset guy. He talks about his miracle morning, what all these gratitude things that have helped him get to where he is. And he's just a young guy who has a lot of ambition, who is looking towards financial freedom. It's a great episode today. I think people are really going to like it.
Super excited. So let's welcome in Andrés.
Wait, before I got story time. Before we intro Andrés, welcome him. Quick story.
Let's hear about your Monday, Core.
Dude, real quick. It was actually over the weekend, which is even worse. So real estate is amazing. I'm going to keep saying it. But some of the things you have to deal with, right? This is just cool. It's kind of a cool story now because it's...
it wasn't when you were calling me on Sunday.
It's not cool, but this is some of the things that, you kind of have to deal with when you're self-managing. And I'm going to talk about the reason why the network is so important, because I have a mentor who is just legitimately like on my team and just saving me right now. So
they know Chris.
He was episode
11, I think.
I think it was 10.
Okay, 10 or 11.
10 or 11, maybe 9. It's in that area. So I get a call from one of my tenants that's saying water is coming up from the bathroom toilet, filling up from the tub, right? And so normally I'm like, okay, just, don't flush anymore. Don't do anything. Long story short is that water ended up coming out of the tub, out of the toilet, all on the floors. They had towels. They sent me a video of water, which is not just water, sewage water, spewing out into the basement, just not filling my basement, but like in my basement. Luckily I had Chris. He was like, I'm 20 minutes away. I'll go take care of it. He went over there. He assessed the situation. He tried to snake the drain, and it ended up being the city. The drain, they snaked it and it went all the way to the middle of the street. It ended up being the city's fault, and the city took care of it, came out. We're getting it cleaned up. Chris is going over there at all hours of the night. He's like my savior. He's kind of like a quasi property manager for me because he lives closer to my properties. And he's saying, look, I'm essentially financially free. I'm happy to do all this work for you. I'll pay him a lot less than I would end up paying somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I never had to even leave my couch. But the fact is that knowing somebody who is willing to do the things that you don't want to do is the name of this game right here, because he doesn't mind doing this stuff. And or else I'd be severely overpaying Roto-Rooter or something like that to go do it, or I'd be literally cleaning up sewage myself. And that's what a lot of investors get scared of. So long story short, it's not going to cost me that much money, but when you get that text as an investor, you're like, wow, it's not as bad as you make it out to be.
Real estate's not as passive as you think it is.
Right. Until we building the systems, creating the team, and you have to deal with some things.
You got to plan.
Just a road bump.
Contact's going to be made at some point, and I think you almost have to prepare each month for at least one thing to go wrong. Not that it will, and then if you get through a clear month, you're like, that was great.
Yep. And like you said, we chatted, you kind of talked me off the ledge, so to speak. And it was more like, look, you only have X amount of properties. Your portfolio's relatively small, you know, so, it's not that big yet. Once you have more, you can offset some of the expenses. You're not as worried about one of these things happening. It doesn't hurt you. And that's why it's important to have reserves. And we do. So again, this is one of the properties that I have without Rye. So
you got to get yourself
dealing
a
with
friend
it together.
that's going to pull out the acoustic guitar, sit at the ledge. And
he was like, how can I help?
From that ledge, my friend.
He was like, how can I help? I was like, dude, you have no idea. No, it was great. You're really helpful. So
dude, happy to do it. That's why we're here. So yeah, real estate's amazing, but you do have shit hit the fan sometimes. All right. Let's, you feel good about that though? You're back.
I'm back.
You're fine.
Chris is going out there. He's going to take care of it, and I'm happy to pay him whatever cost because he's
building your network, man. Yeah. I'd say not a fall guy, but you need a guy that's going to be your hands-on.
He loves that stuff. So it's like we talk about doing things that you love and then hiring out the things that you don't love. He doesn't love cleaning up shit, right? But he loves doing the maintenance. Like he's the fixer. He wants to do that stuff.
He likes helping people. That's what I learned about.
He loves helping people.
Like, I got you. He was like 4 a.m.
He was like, this is the only free time I have. I was like, oh my God.
And you're willing to help me out. That's incredible.
It truly, I cannot say enough. He's my MVP. So
love to hear it. Cool. Andres, thrilled to have you on the show. Welcome officially to the Weekly Juice.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We're very excited. So if you could just give listeners a little background on you, like who you are, where you're from, what you do, and how you got into the real estate game.
Of course. Yeah. So I am 24 years old. I am in Austin, Texas right now from El Paso, Texas. And I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin. I initially started the real estate game when I was 19. So as a freshman in college. And I've always been about kind of being independent and not really wanting to have like that 8 to 5 job. So at 19, I was like, dude, I mean, what better way to get into real estate than as a leasing agent? So I would do all of the leases for my friend groups for the soccer team. When I was at UT, I was on the UT soccer team.
Cool.
And freshman and sophomore year, they're pretty chill with the leasing side. I don't think I made that much. And then when it got to junior and senior year, now that's when I started getting recurring clients and then just referrals and whatnot. I built relationships with property managers, and I was able to just send clients to the property managers and they'd pay me commission on those leases. So that was great. And with the money I made that junior and senior year, I was able to pay for college all on my own and for my living expenses. So, I mean, I loved it. It just gave me kind of a little taste of the freedom that real estate would offer part-time. And also I got to do a sale downtown Austin when I was a junior. And that was like a $1.2 million condo. And that gave me like, I think 30K in commission when I was like 20 or 21. I'm currently 24. So when I was 20, I made like 30K in commission. I was like, dude, this is insane. And this is from yeah, dude, it was like, this is from a lease referral because my friend, she was like, hey, Andres, I have a client for you. And I was like, okay, this is awesome. I started talking to the guy and I was like, so what's your budget? And he was like 1 to 3 million. So I was like, dude, you know, you can buy with that, right? And the guy's like, yeah,
a lease.
Yeah. Can you walk us through, like, dumb it down for everybody? Like, what is the leasing process? I think people would be intrigued, like step by step, just work us up the ladder.
Yeah, of course. So with the leasing process, there's this area in Austin that's known as West Campus. And that's where most of the students want to go live because it's like another party zone. And then just a lot of people have fun over there. So with the leasing, it really depends. They can do a percentage of the first month's rent, what I get as commission, or they do a flat per bed, $500. And that's the per bed that I was really looking at. So say, for example, you guys are my clients. I'm going to ask you several questions. And then from there, I'm like, okay, these 3 apartments fit your criteria. Let's look at these 3 apartments. They almost always choose one of those 3. And then with that, it was like 2 hours of my time. And I'd get like $2,000 if it was a 4-bedroom. And I was like, dude, wow. I'm thriving. This is awesome.
So you're like headhunting for a broker. Is that the deal? Or like essentially like you're warming up a lead for someone else to close. Is that the deal?
No. So for the leasing side, it was like clients that any UT student that I sat next to, I was like, hey dude, what's up? What do you do and whatnot? Then from there, it's like, I need help with housing. So I was like, I can help you. I
Yeah.
do
Oh, you can do it
leasing.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would bring them to the apartment complex. It's like touring single family homes. I bring them to the apartment complex. I'm the main source, and they're like, okay, we're gonna pay Andres because he brought these people. So it
Yep.
was very fast and easy. I loved it.
Cool. There's a lot to unpack there. I want to talk about your, like, you talked about this when you were 19 years old, and you said you've always, I'm wondering, like, what got you into, like, not a lot of 19-year-olds have this entrepreneurial mindset to, like, go make money, right? I know I didn't when I was 19. I just wanted to, like, hook up with girls and, like, drink. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have
Me
that in my
too.
head. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it came later. I'm curious, like, what, is that from your family? How did that spark you when you were young?
So I actually had the opportunity to live in France when I was 16, and it was like an exchange program, and I lived with a host family. So at the age of 16, I was really independent, because I lived with a host family. Dude, they didn't know, I didn't know any French, they didn't know English.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, hey, Google Translate, you're my best friend, what's up, like tell me what they're saying. So at that early age, I feel like it really started snowballing in because independence, when I was in France, I was able to travel. I took the metro to go to school and then come back and all of that. And I was like, wow, I really like this. So I came back when I was 17 with like that open-minded, hey, I want to be independent when I get into college or when I graduate. I don't want to have to depend on like my parents or having a boss as well. So I think that's what kind of started my mindset on I don't want to have to work for someone, and I want to like eat what I kill.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we should talk about kind of where you are now, and then we'll go backwards, because I want to talk about the mindset shift from being a selling to selling real estate, essentially, to investing in real estate, because there's a crossover there that you had. So what does your, like, real estate portfolio look like now as a 24-year-old?
So right now I have 3 rental properties, and the first one, house hack, about 7 months ago, 8 months ago. The next one is actually under contract, going to close on the 28th of December. And then the third one, I'm getting that one in April, and it's going to be a house hack as well. And they're all new builds. So with the clients that I have, I'm a real estate agent. The clients that I have, I've had a lot of people go into the new builds because of the fact that with a market like Austin, you get something under contract for a new build with an earnest deposit, just like 500 to 3,000 bucks. Get it under contract and you lock the price in. So I've legit seen my client actually closed on his home 2 weeks ago. He got it under contract like 5 months ago. This guy has 50,000 in equity without doing anything. He just locked that price in 5 months ago. He closed on his home, and those same homes are selling for 360 now. He got it for like 310 or 306.
Wow. Talk about, like, market boom in Austin. I mean,
Oh my
I've heard
gosh,
that. I've heard that it was
it's
like, it was
insane.
going crazy. But so that's great. So how did you first get started with your first house hack? How did that work out? And what gave you the idea even?
Yeah, so when I graduated from college, I really started delving deep into like bigger pockets and then just reading a lot of books and kind of figuring my situation out. I initially wanted to do commercial real estate. I had like 3 internships in commercial, and then I was like, you know what? The leasing side was great. Let's see what the selling side is. So, graduated from UT, I think May 2019. Then I had that summer at home where I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. Came back to Austin November 2019, and I was like still on the leasing team. They're known as Housing Scout, and I was like, you know what? I want to join another firm that specializes in sales. So I heard I heard a Bigger Pockets episode where Diego Corzo, he's my business partner and mentor, was on, and he's like, hey guys, I'm in Austin, and I was like, dude, I need to meet this guy. So I reached out, I sent him an Instagram message, and I was like, yo, I love your story. You're awesome. You're in Austin. I'm in Austin. Let's meet up. So
And he was just like,
we
"Yep."
Dude, he's awesome. Yeah, he was just like,
That's
yeah,
great.
sure. So we got on a call first. He's like, I don't want this guy to be sketchy, I'm assuming. So we
Sure.
got on a call, and then we met up, and he was like, bro, I love your ideas, your goals. I like what you're doing, your experience. I want you to come on the team. So I joined his team like in February, and Yeah, I mean, that's where I got the idea of house hacking, because Diego's done like 4 house hacks or 5 in Austin, and he has a portfolio of like 20 properties. So I got that idea from Diego, but also the fact that I wanted financial freedom, and the fact that I'm like, I have my own clients and I'm telling them that houses are a great investment. So, like I also
You have
need
to
to have
believe it.
some. Yeah, exactly.
100%. So that's an awesome story. I would say, so you met Diego, and then when you said you joined his team, you had to get your license at that point, correct?
So in order to do leasing, you need your license. So I got my license when I was 19.
Can you walk us through, excuse me, can you walk us through that process just for a lot of people listen to our show and they intrigued in real estate, and some I think have the idea of like, hey, listen, like I want to get on the MLS. I want to have access to certain listings. I'll just get my license, but
And
I
get
have
like the
no idea
commission
and get the commission.
and get the commission for houses they buy too, which is part of
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
And they just don't know the process. I hear it's actually semi easy, but they don't know what to do. So if you could walk us through.
Yeah, of course. So here in Texas, the Texas Real Estate Commission, they're the ones that regulate getting your license and whatnot. You can choose any company to get your classes, and it can be online or in person. I personally took the online route because I could just pace myself and do it whenever I wanted. As a freshman, there were about like 6 sections that you have to take some exams on. Once you finish all of those it's according, I believe it's 180 hours. That's what Texas you have to take for Texas. 6 sections. You pass those mini exams online with a proctor. You send those exam results to the Texas Real Estate Commission. Then you have to take 2 exams, the US exam and the Texas exam. So I think I passed the US one my first try, then I failed the Texas one like twice. So I was like, dude, if I don't pass this third time, I have to retake like 30 hours. And thankfully I did pass it, but that's kind of how it's looking. So I was at UT as a freshman. I was like, dude, I want to party and do this and that. So I think I got it. I started December, January, and I got my license like the end of March. But if you're diligent, you can get it like in a month,
That's
two
awesome.
months maybe.
Oh, because a lot of people do it on the side. It's not their main gig. And, I don't know how successful people are when they don't put all of their effort and mind into one thing. Can you give us an example of some of the questions? Like, not, I know you don't have like a specific example, like X, Y, Z happened, but I'm so intrigued. Are they like, is it a multiple choice, or do you have to like fill in answers based on scenarios, like essay type questions? It's pretty interesting.
Oh, dude, if it would have been scenarios, I probably wouldn't be talking here. Yeah, if it would have been writing, so yeah, no. So it's multiple choice. Yeah, I mean, it's based on facts, and yeah, actually, I think there are some scenarios like if this person did this, what can be done here?
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think those were the hardest ones for me because they were very tricky, and I was like, dude, oh my gosh.
Cool. So you talk about your we kind of went all over here, but we now have this formation of where you are now. You ended up started to get your license. You started out with the leasing. And then you started selling. And then you were like, I need to get on the investing side. I need to do the house hack. You said that you're house hacking new builds, which I think is really interesting because in most markets, people would think that if you're buying a new build as an investment property, which is what you're doing, even with the house hack, that the numbers aren't going to make sense. So could you run us through a house hack scenario, talk about specific numbers and maybe what that looks like? Just pick one of your house hacks that you got started, because there's actually new construction in Philadelphia and I'm running the numbers on it. I'm like, it actually does make sense to house hack when I thought new construction was just
Yeah,
like, it doesn't make any
crazy.
sense. Yeah.
I mean, here it's more so, okay, let's see this. With resales in Austin, price it right or price it a little under market value, you're going to be looking at 7 offers right off the bat. So right
Especially
there,
now.
it's exactly. So right there, I'm like asking my clients, okay, how bad do you want it? What are you willing to potentially waive? Do you want to waive your appraisal? You have to pay that difference if it doesn't come at value. Do you want to not get a home warranty? Do you want to go over asking price? And it's like here, I was like, dude, I found something to where you just put an earnest deposit, and for my home, I put $1,000, and I had the property. No competing, no competition, multiple offers, no appraisal waiver or anything, and the house wasn't finished until April. So I mean, I got it locked in February 2020. My house wasn't finished until April, and once my house had been completed, it had risen like 10K in value around there. So I
Wow.
mean, with that new build, I was like, this is amazing. I got a
So
4
go ahead.
bedrooms 4 bedrooms by 3.5 bathrooms. So within that time, I was renting an apartment, and my lease actually wouldn't have ended until like a month ago. So I still had like 8 months in my apartment, but I was like, I don't want to be renting anymore. So during that time that I got the new build under contract, February to April, that's 2, 3 months to where I was like, okay, I need to find a subleaser. I found someone to sublease. And then, I mean, within that time, I also found some of my roommates. So with that, my mortgage, the PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, it's around 1850. For rent, I'm getting 2150 and living for free. So I mean, with that cash flow, I'm paying for my phone bill and I believe my car insurance.
Right. Exactly. And even if you take out some of it for the maintenance that you might have to pay for, you're probably breaking
Oh
even at
yeah, and
worst, right? Like, so that's exactly how you snowball into the next one.
one thing as well. I mean, with resales, you typically negotiate a home warranty, and a home warranty is something that like covers appliances in case they break. You need to pay a small fee for that. With the new builds, they almost always offer a 10-to-1 warranty. So the warranty is 10 years for structural and roofing, 2 years for HVAC, electric, and electric, HVAC, and then dang, I can't believe I forgot. There's another one, but plumbing, and then
Cool.
the 1 year is for any craftsmanship. So, say for example, your window isn't closing correctly. It's 1 year warranty. I mean, it's a new build, and you're getting a 10-to-1 warranty, as opposed to a resale in Austin. You probably have to waive your home warranty.
So I just want to make sure people understand what's happening here. And I don't know if you'd give it the exact price of the home, but you said that from the time you went under contract and the time that you closed, the home, while it's being built, actually
Yeah,
appreciated like
it's
by 10 or
crazy.
$10,000, which is, that's how hot the market is in Austin. So as soon as you like, you just want to get as many of these under contract as you can.
Oh
Like
yeah, I
it's just
wish I
like,
could get all of them.
it's unbelievable. So, um, let's say that you're now in a house hack. What would it rent out for if you once you left? If like once you left your first house hack, what does it rent out for?
So it's important for anyone that's looking to buying a property. You want to see your exit strategies just in case. Appreciation is always a speculation game. I mean, with the market in Austin, it's just insane, and it doesn't seem like it's going to go
But it won't
down.
be like that forever. Like it won't be like
Exactly.
it's really hot right now. Doesn't mean it won't long term appreciate. Obviously, it will over 40 years, but we're obviously in a very, very hot cycle, and you
Hmm.
know that you're selling real estate. So
Yeah, and I mean, you really need to know your strategy. Like, what are your goals with this? So my goals was living for free, and with that, I was like, okay, living for free, great. That's rent by the room. But once I leave, do I want the comfort of just having one lease with everyone, or renting by the room and getting more people? So with this, I was like, okay, by the whole unit, it's about 2,100, 2,000. So I'd be cash flowing around 200 once I leave. But I was like, I don't really mind getting one rent by room per room. So when I leave my master's, I'm going to be able to rent it for like $800 or maybe 850. So that's like around 3,000, and that's a cash flow of like 1,200. Well, okay, with expenses and all taken into account, let's say it's a like 900
sure,
to a
exactly. I was
thousand.
going to say the
And
same
that's
thing.
room by room, as
That's doing
opposed
it by the
to
room.
the whole unit.
Exactly.
But you're in Austin, where you're all essentially close to campus, right? So by the room is probably not too hard in your area
Oh
because
yeah, no.
there's
I
kids
mean,
all over the place.
and with my leasing clients, I have all my leasing clients in my contacts. I'm like, hey guys, Andres here, and we all get along. They're super cool people. So I'm like, Andres here. Do you guys know anyone looking, or are you looking?
Wow.
So
Do
with
you
that,
have a specific niche in terms of, you talked about new build? Are they a specific amount of bedrooms? Are they all 4 bed, 3 bath? Is that your investing strategy and something that you can see yourself continuously doing?
so with this, it's kind of asking myself, when do I want to be more comfortable? Not that I'm not comfortable with having 3 other roommates, but at the same time, it's like, okay, there's going to be a certain point in time where it's like I can afford to do, okay, let's do 3 beds now, and I'm going to have more space for myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So right now, I would say my niche as a realtor and for myself is 4 beds, at least 2.5 bathrooms. And I mean, it's crazy because all the roommates I've had since I've graduated, except for one or two, have bought homes because they live with me and they're like, oh, house hacking is awesome. And I've taught them all about this. And 5 of my roommates have bought homes. 2 haven't, but 2 have told me they're like, we're going to buy homes. And I mean, it's just the power of appreciating market, the tax benefits, loan pay down, a cash flow.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's great. You got one?
Yeah, I have one. So it seems like I'm going back to the tests, and you said that, you know, you have a little bit of difficulties with tests, but it seems like you're super sharp on all your points here. Like, how do you continually educate yourself to make sure that you know exactly what's going on in your market, so that when you speak with your clients, you know that you're speaking facts as opposed to just, you know, guessing?
Of course, I feel like with this, I just love I love real estate, and I talk about it with everyone. And I feel it's more so kind of like the fact that I love it so much and I like seeing happy clients and them building a legacy, that if I were to go in and blank sit on like I don't know anything, I would like someone like myself. I believe I do know plenty, and I have business partners and mentors that have been teaching me a lot, to where I'm like, okay, someone that doesn't know a lot, I'm going to educate them so that they know that they're going with someone that's trustworthy. So I mean, it's on me to educate myself to that point where I'm like, they're now comfortable with this, and I'm helping them achieve something that I feel is a big limiting belief at this age. My niche for helping clients has been like people from 20 to 30 years old. I've had the youngest client, she was like 21 or 20, and we just went under contract for her like a month or two ago. I have like 9 new builds under contract, so I've very much narrowed down on that niche of appreciation with the new builds, and then just leveraging $1,000 deposit. I got a home under contract for a client for $500,
Wow,
500 earnest deposit.
that's awesome. I really like that. And you keep speaking about clients, and I'm curious how you attract clients and how you actually are building your book of business. Like, what are your marketing strategies? I've always wanted to know that. Like,
So,
people say I do real estate on the side, or like it's my main gig, but I'm like, if they don't, people just don't pop out of thin air and like reach out
yeah.
to you. So how are you finding them?
So it's crazy because I started this when I was 19. And believe it or not, those clients are now buying, or they're like, Andres, you help me with my leases. So I have my mom wants to buy, or my friend, or this and that. And I also talk to them. I'm like, how are you guys doing? Sometimes send some postcards and whatnot. And with this, it's just snowballed into me being the realtor for all of my friends. And everyone's like, Andres, I have this question. And I'm in El Paso, and yeah, a lot of people have reached out for me from El Paso, from my friends in New York, from all over there. So I feel like with this, I've never spent a dollar on advertising. It's all referral based. And I just love that. I mean,
It's
I,
organic so you're starting small with your essentially family and building around your community. And then
and
it's kind
UT
of spreading with the
Austin,
referrals.
yeah,
Do you make any cold calls, or like drop any, I guess
I
you call them, what do you call them? Drop letters or something like that?
yeah, I used to cold call, then I was like, this is not for me. I loved trying it out because I was like, oh, I want to get myself out of my comfort zone. And I was just like, dude, there's no
Nobody
way
likes
I'm
cold
gonna,
calling.
yeah, yeah. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna stick with this. It was
But
pretty funny.
maybe there are some people you can always pay someone to do it. But it's cool. It sounds like you have a real vision for yourself. I kind of want to go back to you reaching out to Diego, because the power of social media and your network is
Your net worth.
truly unbelievable right now, especially in 2020. So can we just talk about your vision a little bit here? You just said, I have something that I really want to do. I want to go from the leasing to working with Diego. You said that, and then you made it happen. I kind of want to talk about your making the ask. What made you do it, and what advice would you give to people who are thinking about doing the same thing?
So I feel like I would listen to bigger pockets every time I would go to the gym in the morning. And with this, I was like, I do not want to reinvent the wheel. I know I need a team. And for people that are like, oh, they're taking part of your commission, it's not really taking. I mean, you're learning so much
Right.
from having mentors and having people exponentially increase your knowledge. And I mean, I've learned so much in these 8 months. I've been with them 9 or 8 months. And with Diego, I was like, oh, he's in Austin and he's killing it and he has an awesome story. So I'm going to reach out. And if he answers, awesome. If he doesn't, what's the worst that can happen? It's like just no response, whatever, you know? So it was kind of that mentality of, you know what, I want to expand my business. So what better way to reach out to someone that's been doing it in Austin?
Cool.
So like I said, I reached out to him. I was like, what kind of like, I love your story and what can I do to help? And let's get some lunch or something.
It's
So
great
from there
advice.
I
To
told,
the what can you do to help part is big. People really take to that, especially if they're looking to grow their own team.
yeah, and I mean with this, I feel like it's a lot like never ask, hey, can you be my mentor? It's more so kind of like do some research and say for example for me, hey Andres, I know you're doing, because I have a blog, and it's like, hey Andres, I know you're doing blogs. I looked at them, they're awesome. I really think this blog topic would be great because of this and that in Austin. What can I do to help? I'd love to chat. And I'd be like, wow, this is awesome. This guy took the time uh, to research a little bit on me and offering their help without asking for anything in return. Hell yeah, I'll talk to you whenever you want.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I think you talked about joining a team and certain percentages that you have to pay back. Could you explain kind of when someone joins a brokerage, how much they do have to pay back and give in commission? And also, can you give us the story or the background on the Nino brothers, or not Nino
Yeah,
brothers, but Nino Real Estate? I think it's what it's called.
yeah, for sure. It is the Nino brother, and it's Nino Real Estate over here. The commission structure really depends, because if you're an agent, a solo agent, the commission structure will be different. And once you reach a certain cap, let's say you make like 10,000 in gross commission. Once you reach a certain cap, 100% is for you.
Oh, okay.
And with a team, yeah, with a team, it's more so, okay, what are our splits going to be? How is this going to work? Typically, it's like a 60-40, 70-30. And once you sell a certain gross commission, you then go like 80-20, and then boom, boom, boom.
Cool.
Cool. And then if you could just give a little background on like the Nino brothers, like what is it all about? Like, why do you love being a part of the team? I think it was part of your story. So
Yeah, so I mean, with the Nino brothers, they started, I believe they have like 20 years of experience. And two brothers, they're from Eagle Pass. They came to Austin and they started doing real estate. And I mean, with them, all of their business is referral based. They've like never had to pay a dime, I believe. Well, actually, sometimes they have commercials now that they're way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And but beforehand, it was like referral based, a lot of integrity. They're a lot about, okay, if I remember when I was kind of, it was an interview to be on their team. Victor Nino, he's my other business partner, and then LC is his brother, he's the other business partner as well. And when Diego was like, I want you to be on the team, I came to meet Victor. And I always believe it's like a mutual internship, a mutual interview, because you also want to like the team, obviously. So with this, I was asking them questions, and then I really liked one answer that they had, and I was like, so what if you guys mess up? Are you willing to pay commission out of your pocket for something that you mess up with? And they were like, yeah, Diego's had some classes, Victor's had some classes. And when they say classes, it's like, we messed up, so we're paying it out of our commission. And
Got it.
that's something that I had to do with my leasing company. And I was like, okay, when I join the team, I want people that have integrity, that have to do that. And a story that I had is that I hired an inspector with some clients that were out of state. They had never seen the home, everything FaceTime. So I had an inspector come. He was like, your roof, you guys have to check it. Okay. I hire a roofer. He checks the roof of the home that my clients were under contract for. And he's like, it just needs repairs, minor repairs, 500. So I was like, okay, I negotiated 5,000 in closing costs. My clients close on the home. A week later after closing, they're like, Andres, someone came by or an insurance or something happened that they're like, this roof needs replacement imminently. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do here and whatnot? So long story short, it was kind of like taking that extreme ownership. There's a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink that's awesome. And I was like, you know what? I hired the roofer, even though he might not have done the best job. It was myself who hired him, and my clients were trusting me through FaceTime. So I was like, I'll pay for it. So I paid 3,000 out of my pocket to repair that roof. And it
Wow.
was like, yeah, I love the story that they had about that. And I was like, I want to join this team.
That's incredible. And that goes so much further. That type of karma and putting that in the universe goes so much further than that one client. Just to know that you're a part of that and that you would do that for clients is a key in somebody being successful. So I think that's a really cool story.
Yeah, and I wasn't really like, oh, let me think about it. No, I was like, let me talk to my business partners, see what
Sure.
like they think. And they were all like, yeah, Andres, I mean, go for it. And it just supporting that. And I knew I was going to do it. Just wanted to see what they thought. So I mean, it was yeah, that's one of the reasons that it's funny because they asked me why I joined the team, and they have a great track record. Right now we're the number one team in our market center. And it was obviously part of that, but also, like I said, the integrity. So when joining a team, it's a mutual interview. It's not just like, oh, they're interviewing me. No, you're also interviewing them to see those vibes
If you both fit.
If you have the same values too, like you can tell
exactly.
integrity, but also holding each other accountable. I think it's incredible. And if you didn't hear that story from them, you might not have thought twice, and you might have lost those clients and said, "Hey, I'm not paying this $3,000."
Yeah.
Oh,
So incredible.
That's a lesson, man, for a lot of people, because there's situations, and in the intro I talked about a situation that I was in where you worry about losing money. But if you kind of let go of that scarcity mindset, people talk about this all the time. If you let go of it and you give more and you're willing to do that, I mean, you probably don't even realize how much more money you made from that decision.
Yeah.
It's probably 10-fold, 20-fold. And it's a tribute to how successful people stay successful and get more successful, is not worrying about the pennies and the dollars and cents. Even though $3,000 is a lot of money, I've heard about stories about like the pursuit of happiness, right? He gave away his last $5 and then he was making millions after that. So
Oh yeah.
This person's going to give you a huge referral or something at some
Yeah.
point, or you're going to find a connection down the line and be like, "That's why I did it." Like, or
Yeah.
like it comes full circle. I believe in karma and
Totally.
just the universe
I
picking up the
100%.
pieces.
Yeah, I feel like that with that mindset stuff, I just don't understand how in college no one is taught about mindset. I'm like, dude, this is just so important. I remember the first book I read about mindset was The Power of Now. And that book is like being present in the now, not thinking about future, not thinking about the past events and whatnot, just staying present in the now. That has exponentially helped me just be present. And I love the quote that's listen to others, talk to yourself. So you want to listen to others and you don't want to listen to your head. You don't want to listen to yourself. You want to listen to others and talk to yourself. Talk to yourself, positive affirmations and all of that. So yeah, no, I love that you guys were talking about that.
It's very hard to do these days when you see a lot of things on social media where people are on stage 15 and you're on stage 2.
Or they make it look like they're on stage 15.
Right.
Yeah, you just don't know what's real and what's not, too.
And to stay grounded and not think about, oh, what could I have done in the past to get, maybe I'm 30 and I see this guy at 24 killing it. Wow, what did I do with the last 6 years of my life that I could have been where he's at? So it's just, I think mindset is huge, and especially nowadays where there's a lot of facades online where people are just showing things that they don't actually have and live fake living in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
And to go off that, to go into the mindset and kind of what's next for you, because you are, I mean, there's other 24-year-olds that might be ahead of you. You might be ahead of other 24-year-olds, but it doesn't really matter. You're doing really good things at a young age. So I want to talk about your vision for the future. You say that you're a big financial independence person, right? Do you have, you have 3 properties, you're making money from your agency or from selling properties, you're fueling your real estate business. Do you have a certain financial independence number that you want to get to? Do you have a certain property number that you want to get to? Or are you doing the living in the now and just and taking just one step at a time? I'm curious what your plans are.
Yeah, so with this, I actually had another property in Ohio that I was under contract for, but I terminated it because I kind of like was revamping my goals. I was like, okay, what should I be doing? And then kind of setting those goals for next year, starting off right now for the next year. And it was initially to be financially free. Well, I think it still is, be financially free by 27. What that means is 10 units and around 6,000 in passive income, 5,000. And I wanted to go with like that 10X type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So going into that, the 10X, I was like, what about an apartment syndication? So I've been educating myself a lot on apartment syndications. And that's something that I hopefully want to do and achieve by the age of 25. So maybe financial independence is sooner. than the 27. So it was initially 27 and 10 not apartment complexes, 10 units.
At
And now it's,
5,000 or $6,000 a month is
yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah. Cool.
And now it's more so that apartment complex syndication, and educating myself on part of a mastermind for apartment complexes. And I've been learning a lot. I've been in it for about 4 weeks, and it's been great. I already have several investors, family members that want to invest. I haven't really been looking for deals as much as I should, but that's one of my goals that I do like visualizations for and affirmations on and whatnot in my morning rituals.
So I think a lot of people feel real estate is daunting because they believe they have to save up 25, 30, $50,000 of their own money. And Corey and I talk about this all the time of like, hey, we're going to need to get creative here with finding funds just to expedite the process and snowball. And so I'm wondering, from an agent side, what are you teaching your clients and what are you educating on yourself on? Like, I'm thinking about your personal example here, an apartment complex. You're going to have some dough for that. So what creative ways are you raising capital or reaching out to people about?
With this, it's really about educating people about that passiveness. So it's like, hey, you have this cash. What has this cash been doing for you in the bank? I can use this cash. Obviously, you want to build rapport. They want to trust you and whatnot. Let's say we're already past that barrier. So with this, it's like, this cash is right here. Let me educate you on what I'm going to be doing. Make it quick, do a presentation. I'm going to be giving you this monthly without you having to do anything. And you're going to get everything back once I sell the property plus more. So it's that passivity of, I mean, I would have this money in the bank, and with an apartment syndication that Andres is going to do, now I'm getting into this. Now, when it gets into the single family side of it, it's really putting everything into perspective. And Craig Curlop, he was on your guys, I believe, two
Awesome.
episodes ago.
Yes.
Yeah, he's awesome. He talks about your net worth return on investment, and it's the formula to calculate your ROI. And with what he says, it's your cash flow, your loan pay down, your appreciation, and then cash flow, loan pay down, appreciation. Oh, and rent. This is very important. Yes, rent savings.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, educating, it's like, oh, wow, Andres, there's tax benefits and then there's appreciation. Then what's the loan pay down? Oh, well, the loan pay down is when your renters are paying for a house and you're building equity. And then it's like, oh, damn. And then putting into perspective of, you're saving this much on rent with
what
all
you
of
would
this.
be paying for rent. Exactly.
Yeah. And with all of this throughout the year, you have enough for a down payment. And then once you put that into perspective, people start seeing like, wow, is it that easy? Because at this, I feel like at my age, a lot of people are like, no, that's not the norm to be buying this and that. And just because people aren't doing it, I won't be doing it. I feel like that's a very big limiting belief that I like to educate people on. And now that my friends have been seeing that I'm doing it, a lot of them have taken action. So it's awesome to see people do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's talk a little bit about this apartment syndication, because you're learning about it too. And we candidly, we're learning. Like, we don't know a lot about it. But let's just say you did have 5 or 6 investors that had a certain amount of money that they wanted to put into it. And maybe you'll know the answer to this. Maybe we're putting you on the spot. But is it something that from the passive standpoint, some people are, maybe they don't want to touch it at all. You're just going to pay them a return monthly. They're going to get their cash flow. And then at the end, like you said, you're going to give the big bump in appreciation. Would you manage an apartment complex yourself? Do you think you would hire a property management company? I'm wondering how hands-on you feel like you would be if you're the syndicator, you're the person gathering all the money for people, because this is really good advice for people who maybe, Ryan, I know people with money, right? So like, even if we're not ready to put funds in a deal right now, I could find a deal. We know we could find deals. So I'm curious how you would structure it.
Yeah. So the way I would structure it, you want to see a value add for a syndication, because you want to get that in apartment complex. And it really depends on how many units you have. So for me, I'm looking for 10 to 50. If it's more on the plus 20, I would hire a property manager. If it's 10 to 20, I can handle. I've been doing leasing for 4 years or more, and I know a lot about leasing, and I know how to deal with the security deposits, credit checks, doing all of that good stuff. So I have a lot of experience with that. Now, when you get the apartment syndication and your investors and whatnot, you want to add all of the value you can within 2 years, refinance, get all of your money back, give it to your investors, and then from there, put the rents up a little higher. because the way I see a lot of people are like, wow, but you're charging people more. So that's like kind of mean. At the same time, maybe you're making the place more secure. So it's added security. You're adding a gate or something, for people. And it's like, I mean, I'm adding value to you because now you're safer and all.
Yeah, they have nicer appliances, nicer furniture, or not, maybe not furniture, but nicer flooring, paint, and all these things that make the value of the property go up. So totally. So
Yeah,
like,
and
go ahead.
it's crazy. It's more about your perspective on things. So when we were talking about the cold calls, initially
Yeah.
I would see the cold calls. I was like, dude, this guy's gonna freaking shit on me, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And when I saw it, like, okay, the perspective is that I'm helping them. They're for sale by owner for a reason because they want to sell their home. So I'm giving you value. I'm gonna keep calling you because I know what value I can add. And it's really seeing like, okay, if someone else sells this home, they're not as good of an agent as I am. So it's in my best interest and theirs for me to be the one that helps you out. So that helped me a lot with cold calls. And in general, just seeing it with different perspectives can help you a lot in life, I feel.
Cold calling helps you a lot in life. I'll say this. I started in sales and like you're going to get no a million times. And it's almost like the fear of starting something. Like you don't want to rip those calls and you don't want to dial the phone and just potentially get a no, or like it's the fear of rejection. Right. And everyone has that. I mean, whether it's trying to go on your first date or like anything daunting that you haven't done before. And it kind of happened to us when we were starting the podcast. We're like, do we want to share certain things? And then once you get over a hump of just being aggressive and sharing whatever and not having that barrier up in front of you, do it one time. It's so much easier to do it the next time. So I think with cold calling and educating yourself more on real estate and the investing side, it helps you be a better agent and then cater to your clients in a different way than basically from the person that does it on the side for 3 hours a week. You do it 40 plus and you know what you're talking about. And you have personal examples that I would trust you more than someone that doesn't have any rentals. Put it that way. You know the benefits of real estate. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, definitely helps.
Yeah. So I want to talk about you sound like you're a big belief guy, right? You've made major strides, only 24 years old. You attribute a lot of your success to your morning routine. And I think this is super tangible advice for people that they can be doing, because to be honest, a morning routine is something that I feel like I need to work on personally. I feel like I've done some good things, but maybe a morning routine could take me to the next level, or it could take Rye to the next level, or anybody listening. What are some of the things that you do in your morning that you can attribute to some of your success and then future success?
I think I attribute it all to like the success that my mentors firstly, and then my morning routine. I can't believe how much it's changed my life. And I know Craig spoke about this, A Miracle Morning. That's like the best book I've ever read. Hal Elrod.
You got to read it. Craig told us
swear,
about it.
Dude,
We just were like,
dude,
oh, we're going to read it, but we got to read it.
It's only been a week, dude.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I know. I don't want to let him down. So we got to read it.
I listened to that episode and I was like, oh, this guy said Miracle Morning. I don't want to say it again, but I swear it's really life changer. So, I mean, diving into it, it's okay. I usually sleep like at 10 and then I wake up at 4:55 in the morning. I wake up. The first thing I do is drink a whole gallon of water. I brush my teeth and then I do my bed.
A gallon in the morning? Really?
Not a gallon. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I drink
glass.
No,
okay.
There you go.
Oh,
It's swell, dude.
Holy shit! You put
Imagine it's like
27 times throughout the
boom,
day.
You cut him off,
All right,
dude.
good.
All right, start over.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go back to the gallon.
He's got to reel me in.
Stand. I do a keg stand with water right there.
Get yourself gassed up for the day. I love it.
Hell yeah. So this whatever this is, I drink this much of water.
Sure.
And then I do my bed because I believe in having small wins in the morning. I do my bed right away. Then I get to the gym like at 5:10. I do like an hour of running and then lifting and all of that stuff. I get home like around 6:20. Take a shower like at 6:30. I start my affirmations and I meditate for like 7 to 10 minutes. I visualize my goals, and then I do scribing. So say, for example, today, this is my 3 things I'm grateful for, then talking about the podcast, then what I say by scribing, it's writing 3 things I'm grateful for, and then it's talking about what I'm thinking right now. So I always start with, it's going to be a great day. I'm going to be interviewed on an awesome podcast today. I'm very excited. And, stuff like that. It's just writing whatever and I do that. At first I thought, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, what the hell am I going to be doing?
Does this really work?
That's fair.
Right?
I think that's good to say
No,
because a lot of
totally.
people are thinking that like, dude, no way I'm doing that.
I
Yeah,
know. No, I know. I'm like, dude, come on, stop being like, this is kind of sketchy. But no, that's the way I thought at first. And then I'm like, holy shit. This morning routine has really changed my life. And a lot of my friends have asked me about that. And I'm like, dude, read Miracle Morning. You can ask me whatever questions you want, but like really read that book. It'll change your life. So with that scribing, then I write like my top 3 things I'm going to do for the day. So like top 3 things I have right here, then I check them off and all. And then after that, I read for like 30 to 45 minutes. And dude, within this time, it's like 7:30 barely.
Yeah, you've had a full day before anyone is
Yeah.
even. I mean, like I get up at 7:30. You know what I mean? Like
And
it's
Part of that's got to get you excited. You're like, I've done so much before the world started. You feel like you're
Oh my
you feel like you're ahead
God.
right
you
away.
are ahead. That's the thing. You are. It's wild.
It's just crazy because I'm like, okay, it's 8, dude, and I've already gone to the gym, affirmations, I've meditated, I've read. And then once I start like cooking myself anything in the morning, it's probably like 7:40 when I start doing that. I listen to like Up First, and it's like 10 minutes about the news. And then I read like 5 minutes of Bloomberg. And then this is what I have to work more on. I try to connect with people I look up to and schedule a call. I try to connect with 5 people a week, but that's the one that's been the hardest for me. I have met great people like that though. And
Cool.
it's been awesome. So that's really my morning routine. By 8, I've already done all of that. And then that's when I'm like, okay, let's start the work day. Not really work day because I love what I do, but it's like, let's start this day.
It's crazy. I'm just thinking about you're bettering yourself in your health. You're bettering yourself in your knowledge and learning when you're starting your brain early. Networking, your network is your net worth. Like you're doing these 3 pillars before anyone's even woken up. And then you start your day, which is trying to, earn more money and put more money in your pocket. But the other 3 things are still funneling and fueling you to be able to do that with a clear mind. And I think it's incredible. I mean, we talk mindset all the time. You clearly are a mindset guy. So I would say we need to hold each other accountable. Read this book.
I got
Dude, seriously,
one.
get an
more
accounting, get someone that can accountability partner. Dude, I swear at first it is hard because, and how crazy is this? It's really like, I'm not a morning person, but that's what you've told yourself over the years to where you're like, yeah, I'm not a morning person because you're thinking about it the day before. And when you wake up in the morning, those are the thoughts that you have in the morning. And you're like, dude, yeah, I'm not a morning person. And I'm proving it to myself unconsciously. And that's what's crazy about it. When people tell me they're not morning persons, it's really something that they tell themselves.
It's
I
so
didn't
true.
think I was a morning person, but then I was like, okay, let's try this out. And then I read that somewhere, what I was telling you guys about. I'm like, damn, this is so true because it's like whatever you put out there kind of expands, So it's like, no, I am a morning person. And then I'm thinking about this before I go to bed. And then I wake up with that same kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's like the power of positive thought, putting it out to the universe. And I think it takes 21 days to create a habit. So I don't know how quickly or how long it took you to get into this routine, but I assume you've been chugging along with it and you haven't looked back since.
Yeah, no, I mean, with this, I think I really started in, I think it's been a year now because I read the Miracle Morning like in September. And I mean, the visualizations part where I was talking about that, one thing I kind of wanted to touch on is really when you set goals or visualize things, it's so important to be like, I want to get 1 unit or more because you don't just want to go at 1 unit. I feel like when you go at 1 unit, you're like, okay, I'm going to achieve this and boom, I achieved it. Okay, there. When it's like or more, it's like, oh, wow, okay, there's more that I can achieve. And there's a story that I have to where I was doing leasing. It was my senior year and I wanted to do like a 90%, 10% split where I got 90%. And my boss was like, okay, you need to make 15 or 20K in commissions and we'll give you that split in 1 month. So I started grinding. I can't believe it, but this is really true. I got that 20K the last day, October 31st. I think The last day I legit got like 20,150. And I was like, dude, this, like if I would have set it or more or set it a loftier goal, maybe I could have reached that. But I was like, wow, this is just crazy how that works, you know?
I think it's important to be real and for you to say, like, I don't think this works. I think it's bullshit. For you to just have those thoughts, it gives people the idea that you're supposed to have those thoughts. People do have them. And then you
10x that
kind of,
shit.
you
Yeah.
trick yourself and then you actually can do it. And I think that I've told myself I'm not a morning person. So I'm that person, you know, and doesn't mean I don't get a lot accomplished, but I've told myself
Oh,
like,
of course.
it's just not, it's just, I'm not a morning person, but I know I can become one and I'm going to read the book and see how it goes. I guess you talked a little bit about your long-term goals. I'm curious, what's a major action step that you're going to take this month or before the end of the year? And to go along with that, maybe an action step that you could give to our audience members who are in a similar scenario that you're in. Maybe they're just getting started. Maybe they have a couple deals. I know we're putting you on the spot. What's one action step that you're within the next 30 days that you want to accomplish?
Yeah. So I would say for this, like I said, don't reinvent the wheel. Connect with somebody that has done this and add value to them without expecting anything in return, and they'll return, you know. So I mean, with this, it's really meeting someone that syndicates and that's a badass syndicator and shadowing them. I was on a call with one with Dante Belmont. He's awesome, and he's a badass syndicator. And I told him, it's like we're good friends. I was like, dude, you have any deal that you're syndicating, I'll legit fly over to New York, wherever you are. I'll shadow you. I'll invest in your deal. I'll legit invest in your deal as long as you like let me shadow you and take me through everything, and I'll do anything you want. I had this conversation with him like 2 days ago, and he's like, hell yeah, dude. Super about it.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
Going as
really.
far as to saying you'll invest in the deal too.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
you're
screw
willing
it.
to put your money where your
Now you
mouth
gotta
is.
do it.
Yeah, you're doing it.
And now it's like, dude, I need to learn because my money is there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's annoying. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. So I had a call with my CPA the other day. Well, it's going to be my new CPA, and I felt semi uneducated in the topic. Like I was asking him pretty basic questions about real estate and like how much leverage I had on like what I could write off and things. And I was like, I didn't educate myself enough going into that call. Like I know there's a book, Bigger Pockets published a book on the tax benefits of real estate. And like, it's on my list. I'm getting it for Christmas, but I'm like, dude, why didn't I read this first? And I said to the guy, I'm like, dude, I am reading this book. I will have it done in 30 days. I'll call you back and I have more questions for you. And it's the power of getting motivated, I guess. It's like when I know I have this coming up and I promised someone else I was going to do it, I know I'm going to put all of my energy into this thing and I'm going to become an expert at it. Kind of like you, it's like, all right, you already promised him, I'm going to invest in your deal. I'm going to come shadow you. Okay. When you show up, you better have your head on straight.
Yeah.
Because you have one shot.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, with this talking on the topic of motivation, I'm like, a lot of people have asked me, it's like, Andres, how are you motivated sometimes? And I'm like, dude, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, screw this. I don't want to do this at all. But it's really okay. Motivation over discipline. Discipline is way more important because you can be motivated. You can be very motivated from one day to the next. But if you know your goals and you know your big why, your how is always going to appear. So it's really about the discipline. Are you disciplined? You can be very motivated, but that disappears from one day to the next. So how disciplined are you with your goals?
I like that a lot. We always say in my office, we say consistency is key because you can have one day where you're a total rock star and the next day you're a slug. And it's like, all right,
yeah,
like what message is that saying? Like, what's your brand? Like we talk about this on the podcast and we're trying to expand growth and we're trying to get our name out there and try to network with people. It's like the difference is going to be that we don't quit and we're just going to continue to push stuff, continue to put our message out there and continue to learn, continue to grow. And it's around the corner. I don't know how big that corner is, but it's around that corner. And I think to your point, it's just like, keep grinding, keep knocking on the door. And I see this graphic or this meme. I forget exactly how to explain it, but it's basically this guy with a pickaxe and he's digging for diamonds or digging for success. And there's the top line is the guy who reached success and he got through, and the guy right below him is 2 steps away and he gives up and turns around. And that's forever ingrained in my head. And I'm like, I am just going to keep plugging and keep plugging because those diamonds and that success is going to be.
And
right
you
around
guys
the
are killing it. You guys started like 9 months, 8 months ago, and dude, you guys have like 3,900 followers on Instagram, and you guys have had an awesome guest. So props to you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
We're just gonna
Thank you.
keep moving.
Hell
We're
yeah.
excited about it. So, and we got great guests like you. So that's
Yeah, I was gonna say we
pretty.
just
Oh,
got another
thank
one.
you.
So, I want to give you an opportunity because I know you have a lot of things that you like to talk about. We're going to move into the last segment of the show, but I wanted to give you an opportunity if you felt like you left anything out or a specific story or something. If not, no worries. But you had a lot to share, so I just wanted to give you that chance. But if not, we'll move into the last segment at the end. If you think of something, feel free. And the last segment of our show is called The Last Drop, and it's you kind of named a couple books, but a resource that you could give to people who are just starting out or at whatever step in their journey, maybe a tangible tool that someone can take away from.
Of course. And actually, one
travels.
thing that I wanted to touch on,
Yeah.
since you were saying that if there was any more things, it's kind of like, okay, how creative can I get to where it's like, dude, I wanted to get a house hack, and I got my house hack in February or April, and essentially you can only get one house hack per year because you're a
Right.
primary resident, low interest rates, and the lower down payment. So it's like, okay, how can I get creative and take advantage of the insane price increases in Austin? And it's like, oh, wow, new builds. I have a great relationship with the builder and the loan officer. Can I get a house under contract while I still have that year of primary residence? And I was able to do that. I got my house under contract, my next house, 4x3.5, in August of 2020, and it doesn't close until April. So even though I haven't finished my primary residence, how crazy is it that I was able to lock that price in, and that house has appreciated like 27K or 30K, and
While
just
they're
put,
building it, right?
yeah,
You had the
dude,
foresight to set yourself up for the next year.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
exactly. And I was like, I need to find a way. And I was like brainstorming. It's like, oh, dude, I mean, currently with this builder, I have like 6 under contract or 5, and I bring them a lot of business. Let's see what they can do. And they're like, yeah, I mean, spoke with a loan officer and she was awesome. It's like, Andres, I'll help you out. She let me get under contract, and I don't close until April. So that's going to be the year, and it's my next primary residence. So I feel like with that, it's very much so if someone says no, keep looking, like you both were talking about right now. A no is and I'm not a better answer, but there's this book called Extreme Ownership where it's like you want to get the no first, so from there you can kind of dive deeper into, okay, what is the yes kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really have much to do with this, but get that no and okay, go on to the next one and the next one, and then someone will say yes with a loan officer, or you might partner with someone, and their unfair advantage is that they're their primary residence. So there's
You
always
gotta
a
ask
way.
why. You know what I mean? A lot of
Exactly.
people don't ask why, and then they don't keep plugging along. They say no is no, and they walk away. And I don't know the quote you're looking for, but it's in my head. Cat got my
Yeah,
tongue.
Well,
right?
no, like the more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes kind of
Pretty
thing.
much.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I like that.
Something like that, yeah.
We both butchered it, but that's all good.
All of
so-
us, all 3 of us.
So I mean, you gave 3 books. So I think that's if you have another sort of resource or anything that you'd like to share, feel free. But The Miracle Morning, Extreme Ownership, and what was the third book that you mentioned?
The Power of Now is what started like my psycho-cybernetics, Miracle Morning, psycho-cybernetics, probably the best books. But yeah, The Power of Now is what really started my mindset game. And that book really, like The Miracle Morning, it did change my life. Being present in the moment, in the now.
Awesome.
Great.
Is there anything you want to plug before the end of the show, as in like your brand, where people can find you, network with you, and just connect offline if they love this episode and they say, hey, listen, like Andres is the man. I'd love to network and connect.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, on Facebook, Andrés Bustamante. Then I have some blogs that I put. Sometimes it's twice every 2 weeks, so weekly, or twice every month. It's called House Hack Austin. And then my Instagram is Andres Busta TX. That's my Instagram handle. Yeah, I mean, you guys can shoot me a DM, whatever you guys want.
Awesome. This was a great episode. It's kind of if somebody's just getting started, age doesn't matter. Like, it's not about the age, but if you're just getting started, you're looking at you and you're pretty advanced and you're at a young age. So it's kind of proof that people can do this. So I was excited to hear your story, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Of
I
course.
think it's
Thank you,
super
guys.
motivating for young and old. And you just proved, like, I know we do have some young listeners that are in college and they're like, hey, listen, like, I want financial freedom and I want it soon.
Start in college.
Look at you, man.
Yeah.
27. You're about to get there. So
Yeah.
just keep hitting that pickaxe. You'll be there.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And we'll stay in touch.